Is that what you did? Is that what you did?
You feel like that is life's ultimate flex, isn't it? And that's quite crass of you to ask that question. In your 20s, you are going out to find your life's partner.
You go out in your best garms. You think, oh, the ladies better be careful tonight. Yeah, I have got
Valentino shoes. Something's going to happen tonight. Something's bound to.
Or here are the kids.
I think 95% of people would take the 20 mil and run.
Have you seen the clip around Ronnie Cheng about how Chinese people love money?
Chinese people love money, okay? You think rappers love money? Yo, we love money. More than anyone. Chinese people love money so much, we have a god of money.
Yeah,
it's so true.
It's true though, isn't it? Like, where do you stand on this? Like, where's your own personal view?
I think there's a bit of flex in everyone. What you actually flex about is different. I think there's like there's subtleties in the flex. There's like the humble brag flex. You know, those people who they don't really tell you exactly what they've got or what they've bought or where they're at in life, but they'll use other things to humble brag. Like they'll say things like, this Porsche is costing me a fortune to fill up. Do you know what I mean? They'll say things like that.
That's the thing, isn't it? I think a lot of people do the humble brag. I think I personally, I feel like I do it a little bit. I do buy into brands. Yeah.
I know you like your jackets.
Oh, I love jackets, mate. I love that. That is my biggest vice of all. And
I think there's a difference because I think it's okay to have, whether it's a Prada jacket or a Kangoo or whatever it is, it doesn't matter what the brand is. It matters what it means to you, right?
Yes. Yeah.
But here's the thing. I think it's okay having a couple of the staples. Yeah. Having a nice jacket, maybe a nice pair of shoes, maybe a nice car. Yeah. But the thing is, I might go and wear, I don't know, a Zara t-shirt. I think here's the difference. There are the people who like to flex with just the staples because they like to wear nice things.
Yeah.
And then there are people that just like to wear designer gear for the designer gear and I think the intent is different.
Yeah, I agree. It's not because they're trying to create a look or, feel nice in their clothes. It's because they want to wear stuff that makes them look wealthy, that makes them look like they're stinking rich.
And half the time they don't look good.
Oh no, mate, they look terrible. Like, if they've got a massive Dior here and then a Gucci, print trousers and then another pair of, I don't know, maybe Valentino trainers. And like, how have you put that together? And how do you even conceive that you look halfway good?
They looked at the price tag and just threw it on.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that is, when people talk about typical Chinese displays of opulence, that's one of them. Is meshing together multiple top-end designer brands in one outfit with massive logos. That is like the classic, isn't it? I think.
But why though? Why do Chinese people like to flex about money? Why? Where does it? Where do you think it comes from?
I reckon a lot of it's because in the last 30 years, the economy of China has come up. So there's been this swell of middle class, upper middle class, and they want to show that they have stuff that they never had before, that they want to show that they've made it, that they've made a success of themselves. And the easiest way to do that, and the most obvious way to do that, is to, like you said, put an AP on your arm, put a PP on your arm, wear a Dior jacket. And it's the quickest way that you can show someone that I've got a bit of money now.
I agree. I think China or maybe just the Far East in general, have went through a period of poverty, and they were developing. And they were poor countries. They were developing countries at one point, right? China wasn't always like that. Even Hong Kong really wasn't like that at one point, right? They were all relatively poor developing countries, right? But then there was a period of 20 years when literally it just the economy just grew. Everyone outsourced all the manufacturing over there, and literally people became rich overnight, literally overnight, right? In England, you've got these generations upon generations of class building. You can be poor in this country but still be upper class. because we have a class system in the UK.
That's right.
Yeah, in England, there's no class system in China. You're poor or you're rich.
That's right. Yeah, exactly that.
And I think that's where it came from. That actually is deep rooted into society. That if you don't wear expensive stuff, you are poor.
I think that's right. Like, and that's why in a lot of Asian cultures, it's perfectly okay to bring up things and topics that are seemed crass or a little bit, obvious in Western culture. So it's absolutely okay for someone in China or Hong Kong to ask someone, how much do you make a month?
I know.
What
over here,
you
wouldn't ask that over here, right?
No. It's pretty taboo, and it's certainly not something you'd ask, complete strangers. I feel like it's relatively okay and accepted to ask that of complete strangers in Hong Kong and China. It's the norm, isn't it? It's topic of conversation, and it would never be topic of conversation over here.
Do you still think it is now?
I think certainly there are conversations in Hong Kong where it's starting to feel a little bit like it's taboo, like, oh, that's quite crass of you to ask that question. I think that's starting to creep in the last, I don't know, maybe 10 years or so. But certainly, a lot of mainland China, they will still ask those questions because it's absolutely okay to ask those questions, I think.
It's odd though, isn't it? I do find it odd.
Yes. Do you get relatives that ask you about your company, how much you make?
Yeah. Maybe indirectly. Maybe they don't ask so directly. But I met a family from that had not been over in England for that long, and they moved all the way over here from China, and they were like really open. Like I mean, it wasn't, and I felt that because I knew them that they weren't actually bragging,
right?
But anyone that didn't know them would think they were coming across as bragging. And then they were literally telling me every single item of clothing, how much these things cost. He was like saying, oh yeah, this was £2,000. And then he was pointing to his watch and he was saying, yeah, this is £17,000. And he was pointing at his shoes and he was telling me every single item of clothing, how much it was. And I just it was a bit comical to me, to be fair.
Absolutely.
But I found it really, I found it a bit embarrassing because I was hoping no one else could hear the conversation.
Yeah. Well, you were in public?
Yeah, we're in public, yeah. We're in public, like a kids party. Pointing at the various things and telling me how much each item was. And I thought, wow, man.
How do you even react to that, though? Like, what is it a well done?
Well, he wasn't flexing. It was almost like it was just culturally ingrained. It was just offloading information. He wasn't flexing about it. It was just offload. It wasn't.
But like, where does the conversation go from there? It's like, I'm going to give you this information, and normally a conversation goes, I'm going to tell you something, and you're going to tell me something back, an opinion, or where do you go? What is the next step of that conversation? Is it like, great, well done? There is nowhere to go, is there, from that conversation, really?
Even the people over here. Us BBCs, I think, everybody has a flex.
Oh yeah.
A different type of flex. And you see it on Facebook, Instagram, and it might not be a really obvious material flex, but I guarantee anybody who you speak to will have some kind of flex. And it might not be designer gear.
No.
It might not be a nice car, it might not be a nice watch, it might not be nice clothes or whatever. It might be intellect, and it might be my oldest son is a pilot, my youngest son is a lawyer, and my daughter is a doctor.
I mean, to be honest, I think that is probably life's ultimate flex. If you can have offspring that do well for themselves, it doesn't matter if you step out in Primark gear or drive a 20-year Fiat Punto. As soon as you have that open conversation and say, you know what, I've had kids, and those kids are now doctors, lawyers, pilots, investment bankers, whatever it is. I feel like that is life's ultimate flex, isn't it? And actually, conversely, it could go the other way. If you drive a Ferrari, have made a real success of yourself, and then someone asks you, "What do your kids do?" "Oh, nothing. They're just sponging off me," or "They haven't done anything with their life." I feel like the reverse is also true. It's almost like you failed, man.
Yeah,
you might have all this.
Totally.
but your kids have failed, and now you're a failure as a father.
That's a really good point.
Isn't it? It's like the reverse is true as well, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I mean, which way round would you rather have it? You'd rather be ultra uber successful, or your kids?
It's a great question, right? Okay, let's pose that question then to each other. So you could have 20 mil in the bank, 20 mil. You could drive really nice cars. You could have, really successful business, etc., etc. But your kids are just sponging off you, waiting for you to go to the pearly gates,
pot my clogs,
pot your clogs, right?
Yeah.
Or you could be the other reverse is you could be middle management, average job, really happy though, content with your life, but Natasha and Jamie turn out to be maybe not to the 20 mil level, but they are top doctors and lawyers.
Yeah.
What would you choose?
Well, I think that's the ultimate question for every parent. The stereotypical is that if you, dad and mum, ultra wealthy, ultra successful, ultra rich, generally speaking, unless you've got your head really screwed on, your kids are going to grow up with means.
Yeah.
They're going to grow up with a lifestyle, in an environment, in crowds, in circles where they also have means.
Yeah.
Yeah. And generally, they're going to be exposed to the finer things in life. And that's what they're used to. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So naturally, they're going to be a little bit spoiled. I was going to try not to use that word, but that's the word, right?
I agree.
They're going to be spoiled because there's no requirement for resilience. They don't need to survive. There's no pain or very little pain unless you give them pain, which I think, which I'll come on to.
Right.
And so naturally, rich kids are going to have an easier life, right? Because there's no resilience. They don't need to work hard and go and jump through hurdles and you're I mean, there's the minority where you see rich people who give all their wealth away and the kids have got to start from the bottom.
Yeah, that's very.
Would you do that? Would you do that?
Absolutely not. Absolutely
right.
Not.
There you go. Yeah. So it's difficult, right? But whereas if you, like as you said, you work a normal 9 to 5, very comfortable life, but you're not rich by any means, regular family.
Yes.
I think the kids are going to turn out because they're going to have to fend for themselves a little bit more, right?
Yeah.
So I think the hardest thing for any parent is if you do well yourself, you can't let your kids know that you're doing well.
I agree. But you have dodged the question like a politician. The question is, would you be ultra wealthy and have useless kids, or be an average guy but have quite extraordinary kids that do well for themselves?
Those are the only two options, and there's no other scenario, right?
Yes.
And I think that in the theoretical scenario to go for is to be average life of successful kids.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that's the sensible thing to do. In practice, if you were a genie and I rubbed the lamp and you came out and you said, Terry, you can either go for 20 million.
Yeah.
And your kids are absolutely useless. Yeah. Or you can go for average life and your kids are going to have to strive a little bit and they're going to have to figure life out themselves a little bit, but they'll be all right. They'll be successful in their own right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which one would you choose? Heart is going to say, I just want the kids to be good.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just want the kids to be good. But you're in that moment in time, I think 90% of people you probably ask this question is going to say, I'll take the 20 mil.
It's an insanely good question. Do you know why? Because in the scenario so in the first scenario, we haven't even covered the one thing, happiness and contentment, right?
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
Asked about but in the other scenario, we've said that everyone is basically happy because we said that. So in the average scenario where you have two extraordinary kids, we've said that you're happy, I'm happy, we're happy, and tends to be that the kids have achieved something. So you can almost say that they are by default happy and fulfilled in their achievements in life. But look at the other side where we've got 20 mil. I haven't said whether that 20 mil made me happy. I've just said we've got 20 mil.
Yeah, and that's true.
Actually, the kids being useless, they're probably not happy either.
Yeah,
right?
and you're probably not happy that they're useless as well.
Absolutely. So we haven't even covered that, but
it's a very good question.
Automatically, you're like, I'll take the 20.
Yeah,
I'll take the 20. It's a really tough question, and I have purposely dodged it as well. But I think what you're saying is you would most likely go for the scenario where the kid's a little bit extraordinary and you are average, but you're all happy.
If the happiness was in the scenario where the kids are relatively successful and everyone's happy, that'd probably be the scenario, because that's generational, right? Because 20 mil isn't generational nowadays. No. You could blow 20 if you're stupid about it. You could blow 20 mil. You could blow 20 mil in a year.
Yeah, like that Mikey Carroll who won the lottery, right? He won 15
there you go.
Mil and it was
right.
Gone. Yeah.
It's like his brain just wasn't built for 20 mil.
Yes,
like you could have had 100 mil and he would have blown it.
Yes,
right.
That's
but his brain hadn't exercised and trained to the level of handling 20 mil, because someone with 20 mil doesn't go and blow it. Someone with 20 mil tries to make another 20 mil.
Yeah. And then, passes it down to the generations where,
exactly.
It's locked in property or it's locked in stocks or whatever, and it's going to be passed down to you.
That's it. So which scenario are you then?
I think
so. I'm a genie. You rub the lamp and I say, hey, Kev, listen, here's 20 mil. Here's a stack of 20s, all 20 mil. Yeah, you can literally take this case out with you now, right here. Yeah. Or here are the kids. Here's like a salary for the rest of your life. Right. But your kids, they're going to be all right. They're going to be all right.
Define all right. Because Genie, what you're not telling me, Genie, is what does all right actually entail?
Right. So your kids are going to struggle. Yeah. And they're going to find their own way. And there's going to be challenges in their life. There's going to be hurdles, right? And there's going to be hurdles for you, because you've got to fund these two kids to school, university, marriage, house, car, all of that regular stuff that you've got to do, doesn't go very far, Kev.
Genie, if you can tell me that both my kids, one of them's going to be a dentist and one of them's going to be a lawyer, and they're both happy, I'll take scenario B.
Let's go that extreme. Let's go. They're going to be a doctor, dentist, lawyer, all of those professionals.
Yeah, I'll take.
You say that one, yeah?
I'll drop that 20 mil, and I'll say I'll take my kids' success and happiness over that 20.
Nice. Very good.
I think that's I'm gonna go.
That's the way. That's the way.
The way though, isn't it?
Do you think the majority of people you ask this question would have the same? Would you take the 20 mil, or would you take your regular average life, but your kids are happy and doing well?
I think 95% of people would take the 20 mil and run.
What are you, 40? Let's not say it. I'm 40s, right? Yes. We're both 40s. We'll just 40s. We'll just leave it at that. We're both 40s. And do you know what? There was a time when you was in your 20s that material stuff was the everything. Was the everything. It was the thing that defined who you were, right?
Absolutely.
But now the material things are just the gloss. It's not. It doesn't define who you are. It's just a nice gloss to have because you can afford it, right? You're more confident. You're more wiser. You're more intelligent. You've learned more about the world. So you're 40 now. Let's just say we live until we're 70, 80, right? In the next 40 years, you look at your mum and dad now, and I look at my mum and dad, right? They don't give a shit about what I've got.
No, they don't care.
Literally, my dad. There was a time that he did.
Yeah.
But right now, my dad's 80. How's your dad?
72.
Right. So they're elderly, right?
Yeah.
My dad could not give less of a shit of the stuff I've got.
I honestly think the older you get, the less the stuff matters. The more that you anchor on talking to your kids and being around family and being around the people that you love, and that is genuinely I think someone was saying they're saying that people plan for their retirement and they plan to spend for 25 years like they're spending now.
Yeah.
But the fact is, you've only got 10 years when you can spend like you can now, because the next 15 years mate, you'd be lucky if you can walk down the street. You'd be lucky if you can, enjoy anything.
There you go. We talked about holidays before, right? And you think, right, I'm gonna earn all my dough now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna work so hard, right? I'm gonna work so hard. And do you know when I retire, when I'm 60, 65, or whenever I retire, I'm gonna go on holiday every 2 months. And you won't. Because you won't, because one, you probably won't want to go, and two, you'll be too tired to go, and three, you don't want to be you don't want to be too far away from your family.
That's right. That's right.
You don't even care what car you've got. You don't even care what you're wearing. It's like none of that matters.
No, it doesn't. It matters less and less as you get older as well. And I think that's where, bringing the conversation back to the flex thing, I think definitely as you get older, flex matters less, doesn't it? I think in your 20s, you're trying to portray like you are going out to find your life's partner and to attract the best life partner that you can
is that what you did? Is that what you did? Did you go out in your best garms? You think, oh, the ladies better be careful tonight. I have got the best garms on tonight.
I've got my Dior on. I've got my Gucci on. I've got my Valentino shoes. Something's gonna happen tonight. Something's bound.
It's a sure win. It's a guarantee. Place your bet, boys. This boy's coming home with.
That is it, isn't it? Like in your 20s, you're trying to show off and do all this and that. I think in your 30s, then you settle a little bit and you go, you know what, I'm still going to do that. And in your 40s, certainly for me, it's like I don't really care. I don't really.
No.
I will buy the things I like because I genuinely like them, but that is within my means, and I feel like flexing beyond your means is possibly the disease of the 20th.
Definitely. I think in the UK, I think UK especially. We talked about like if your kids are going to be successful, whatever. I think depending who you ask and at what age, your answers will be different. If you ask someone in their early 30s, 20s, they'll take the 20 mil all day long, even if they have kids. Even if they have kids.
Yes.
If you ask someone in their 40s to 50s, the 20 mil becomes less important. Yeah. You want good health, healthy kids, intelligent kids, successful kids. Happiness. The money is here when you're 20, 30s. But it's here in your 40s, 50s and upwards. But your health and your happiness, it goes like that. It goes like that. You don't really care about your health when you're 20 odd.
No, but how much of this do you feel? Yeah, because you are healthy. You're invincible.
Yeah, you've got health. You've got health.
Nothing hurts. You're bulletproof at 20, right? And I'm going to throw this question out: is it because at 40 you almost admit a little bit of defeat against your earning potential? Because so stick with me here. So you kind of like go, okay, at 40, I'm like, this is it. This is my lot, because in the next. I'm getting more tired. I've got 2 kids to look after. I have run out of my intelligence has reached its peak. In fact, it's probably dwindling a little bit as I get older as well. Right? So, my ability to absorb and learn information is going away.
Your tolerance is probably less as well.
My tolerance is less. Yeah. My energy is less. My network is where it's going to get. It's as big as it's going to be, because I'm not exactly going to throw myself out and, into a new market and make loads of connections. So then you suddenly realize, this is me. This is my lot for the next 20 years. And then it is an almost of admitted defeat, although no one would ever say that to themselves. You almost go, yeah, this is me. I'm probably going to earn this much for the rest of my life, and this is where I'm going to get to. Because you know that fact, then you start to focus on other shit. Like, I want to keep I want to keep my body good. I want to keep my kids happy. I want to keep, I want to get longevity out of this game now, because I know the limit of my game.
That's a really good point, actually. I think you get to a point where, on the same note there, do you feel that when you hit 40, you had a bit of flashback and think, when I was 18, where did I think I was going to be?
Yeah, I'm nowhere near where I thought I was.
And I don't think anybody is. I don't think anybody that is at when they were 18 are at now where they were expected to be at 40. In fact, when I 40 for me when I was 18 was old, man.
Yeah.
But 40 is different now. 40 is like, I don't know, maybe because I am 40 odd, but I think 40 now is still relatively young. Ish,
I think that's every generation of 40-year-olds has told themselves that.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm 50, man. I don't feel 50. It's like
so 40-year-old 50-year-olds now were telling themselves that 10 years ago they were like, don't you feel like 40 is different now? Oh, yeah, 40
is the new 30. Yeah. No, that's true. I think that Chinese people like to flex because they've got something to prove to the world.
Yeah, I definitely think. Yeah,
I think us as a minority, we feel that we have to flex, and it might not be material things. It might not be fancy jackets, fancy watches, fancy shoes, fancy cars, whatever it is. Whatever the flex is, we feel that we have something to prove to someone.
Yes, and it is even like in your family. That's very true. Like I don't know what it was like for you growing up, but it would always be things like, look at your cousin now. They're like
the comparison.
Always. It was like a constant battle of like, look, this cousin's doing much better. Now my mum will bring it up and say things like, oh well, they went to Cambridge and now they're doing this and that and all that lot. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this information? Much like the guy that was telling you about his jackets.
Yeah,
it's like it's similar to the exchange of you telling me things is not going to drive me to do more. I'm not going to suddenly change career and say, you know what, I'm going to go to Cambridge at 41. I'm going to prove to you that I can get into
and that's probably not what she wants either.
No,
she's not even thought about why she's telling you that information. She probably in her head isn't even comparing per se.
No.
It's just, I think culturally, that's just how Chinese people look at people. They compare, they look at an individual, whether it's your son or whoever, and they compare it to the next person. The funny thing is, they never compare to someone who's doing worse than you.
No, never.
Never, right? Never. Do you think that you will be like this with your kids? Every generation dilutes.
So it's funny because if one of Hayden's friends is better at football, I will say, look at Thomas. Thomas is pretty good, isn't he? And I'll always say things like that. Like I will always subtly say, and then Hayden's like, yeah, and I'm like, no, I'm just saying Thomas he's good on the ball. He holds the ball well. He's got a good tackle. He works hard. And Hayden's always like, why are you telling me this? So I do have those traits, and I don't like it about myself, but I do. It sometimes filters through. Maybe not in schoolwork or anything like that, but certainly if someone plays well at football, I will definitely make a point of telling Hayden that guy plays well at football.
You say you don't like it.
Yeah.
But why do you think you're doing it? What's the point in telling him?
So that he can
he can rise up to it.
It's the same reason why my mum told me that there was cousins that do this and that,
They can rise up to it. I see. I see. You're doing a good deed because what you're trying to do is instill some resilience in your child. And saying, hey, look at, your teammate. He's doing so well. He's really good control of the ball. What you're basically saying is that, hey, take notes. Remember what he does so that you can do the same. That's basically what you're saying, right?
Yeah, maybe. It is.
But his interpretation of that, because they're Gen, I don't know what Gen they are. What Gen are they?
Alpha. Gen Alpha, I think.
Gen Alpha. Well, Gen Alpha, right?
The skibbity toilet.
The skibbity toilet. Skibbity Gen, right?
Yeah.
All of that. They don't look at it like that. They look at that essentially as an attack.
Yeah.
Why? Because they're not looking at it from our perspective. They're looking at it from the point of view that that life is rosy, that everyone should shower me with good praises.
Yeah.
That's the way the world should be. I only accept the positive. I only want the dopamine hits.
Yeah.
I don't want anything else but the dopamine, because the dopamine is comfortable. Yeah, it feels nice. It's nice and warm and fluffy. All this jaggedy shit over here. Yeah, I don't want any of that. Yeah, I want to go through entire life. But you're doing the right thing. You should give us some jaggedy shit.
Certainly feel like the kids these days, and now feel just saying that phrase, kids these days, makes me feel like a 70-year-old. Kids these days, brilliant. Yeah, they are wrapped up in cotton wool, aren't they? And I often do feel like delivering home truths, but I wish that we sometimes, I do wish that we could be a little bit more direct in how we speak to our kids. Yeah,
I agree. I always deliver the perspective with Natasha and the kids, and I'll always say, look, I always do the thing where I think X, Y, and Z are good, aren't they?
Yeah.
But then I'll always say, but you're better at this than them.
Nice.
And I'll always deliver the perspective. Yeah. I'll always deliver the crap, but I'll give you a chocolate bar at the end of the day. And I'll do that with my staff as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll always tell them the thing that they are shit at.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the people who are probably that they could not so much the people who are doing better than them in that way. Yeah. But hey, you need to improve on this, but maybe watch him. He's doing all right. Yeah. Yeah. But do you know what? This thing that you do is great.
Yeah.
Yeah. You are a lot better than him at that. But if you get that thing from him, you'll be 100%. Yeah. Why do Chinese people love money, Kev?
The reason why they love money is because they come from a position over the last 20 years where they haven't had a lot of money. So the upper middle class has suddenly swelled. So all of a sudden they've got all this money. And what's the best way to show that money?
Flex it with a PP.
Yeah. You need a PP or an AP or something with a P in it because that's how you flex properly.
That's good. Kev, listen, man, good talking to you. Have a good rest of the weekend. And I'll catch you next week.
Yeah, excellent. Right, I'll catch you soon.
See you later, man.
See you, mate. Bye.